So here we're just doing a real quick Camaro update. So if you guys follow the channel, you guys may know that I finally got the car running. My father came down before Christmas time last year, and we got it going after we ended up having to tear the rear end and all of the rear end components out of the car in order to replace the 2-inch rubber hose that goes between the fuel pump and the sending unit. This little hose right here had a hole blown in it. If you guys haven't checked out that video, I do have a video of us getting the car running, so go ahead and check that out. But as far as the fuel system, I'm running the stock tank with an aftermarket sending unit OE replacement, and then the Aeromotive Stealth fuel pump. And I've had it for a couple years, but it's just been sitting in the tank, and I made sure to flush the tank and put new fuel in it before we first fired it up. And then unfortunately, somehow in that time, even though the hose was supplied with the Aeromotive kit, so it's not like the hose should have not been rated for it, just the ethanol and fuel is really rough on things now. So I guess that has something to do with it. But we replaced that 2-inch rubber hose and the car fired right up. And I drove it a couple times before winter and then had to park it. And then as soon as we started to see nicer weather, I started taking it out as much as possible. I have about 120, 130 miles on it, and I've just been slowly tuning it and adjusting it and, kind of finding all the little leaks, things like that, and dealing with that. The car's been on hard acceleration, going lean really quickly and then overcorrecting and going extremely rich, so I've been trying to tune that out of it. But the coolant temp sensor was way off with the Phytech, which that is a common known issue with the Phytech, so that's one of the first things people change out. So I went ahead and changed the coolant temp sensor and been dealing with the coolant, making sure that it's actually getting through there and all the air out of it, because the radiator sits just slightly lower than my filler neck, or not the filler neck, the thermostat housing, because it is quite high. So just trying to get all the air out of the system, but basically gotten that taken care of. But my uncle came to visit the other week, and we were going on a few drives and everything was going great. We were sitting outside the garage just talking, decided to pull it in because we're gonna go get some dinner and stuff, and the car wouldn't start. Well, when I turned it on, I heard no fuel pump priming, so I knew there was an issue. Check the fuses, check the wiring to the relay, check the wiring from the relay to the bulkhead connector in the back behind the rear seats, and everything had voltage, everything was fine. The Phytech was commanding it on, so disconnected the fuel pump at the bulkhead on the back where this connector plugs in, and jumped power straight to the pump, and nothing. So it was the fuel pump completely shot, unfortunately, even though it only has, I'd say at this time, probably has about 150, 160 miles on it. So my uncle helped me tear everything back out of the car. So we have everything torn back out, drive shaft out, completely disconnected the torque arm to get this rear end out of the way, because it is bigger than the stock rear end, so to get the tank out, it has to get out of the way. So we got the old tank sitting here with the sending unit and the Aeromotive fuel pump, which I obviously have not had good experiences with this Aeromotive Stealth fuel pump, so I decided to go a different route. Even though they are very popular and used by a lot of people, I just decided, since I haven't had good luck with it this time around, especially not even 200 miles on it, I decided I'm going to go a slightly different route. So I'm going to share with you what I'm going to be doing there. And then while we have this tank out and the rear end and everything out, there are a few changes that I'm making to the Camaro, so I want to go over those with you because those will be in upcoming videos. So as far as the fuel system now, I decided I'm going to completely swap out the fuel tank. This is the Holley OE replacement fuel tank with the Holley sending unit and fuel pump. It is a 350 liter per hour fuel pump, good for up to 750 horsepower, and it comes with the ring and seal and sock filter for the bottom of the fuel pump, and then the tank also comes with one. And then while I was replacing all of that, I decided I might as well pick up new straps because mine are old and beat up, and this stuff is just falling apart. The other one just has like random pieces, so these are from Holley as well. So I just went all Holley with it. Holley straps, tank, sending unit, and fuel pump. We'll get all of that assembled and get it in the car and test it to make sure that everything is fine. But before we go and reinstall everything, there are some other changes I'm going to be doing. For one, my seats. I will be changing out these seats and harnesses, but right now, the way I have these harnesses set up, these are 4-point harnesses, this is not suggested. This is the way you should not do it. But I had nothing, I don't have a roll cage or anything, so I didn't have anywhere for the shoulder harnesses or the shoulder straps to actually bolt to, so they run down the back of the seat to the bracket. That is not suggested. These shouldn't be at any more of a 45-degree angle from the back or from your shoulders. So I definitely want to change that out. I want to make this safer because this is not a good idea. Another thing with this, the other issue is there's hardly any adjustability to the harnesses because it's using all of the strap to go down the back of the seat. Well, they make 2 harness bars specifically for 3rd gen Camaros. One is for an 88 to 92 Camaro where the back seats have shoulder straps or over the shoulder straps. So they have like mounts up here. Well, mine's an 85, so it definitely doesn't have that. So that one's not going to work. And then Hawks Motorsports has their Sinister harness bar, which uses the striker pins for the back seat. And then you bolt it through the floor back here. So if you guys know the 3rd gen Camaro, there are 2 rear seat designs. You have the split back and the single back. The split back has a striking pin on both sides of the car. The single back just has one striking pin right here, as you can see. And then I don't have one on the driver's side. Well, I contacted Hawks, and basically what they're doing is they're cutting the bracket that holds that striker. They're going to cut one off of a car on the driver's side, send it to me with the harness bar so I can have that welded in over there, and then while the tank is out, I can actually cut away some of my insulation and I'll drill through and do some threaded certs in the back and install the harness bar. Another thing I had to change due to deciding to run this harness bar, the harness bar basically comes up to this mid area where the rear seat delete is. Well, I had this subwoofer box sitting on top of that rear seat delete. I had it, built as nicely as I could for what it was, and I really enjoyed it, but it was going to be in the way, so I went a different route with it, and I have removed it all, and I kind of built the subwoofers into the rear seat delete. Now this isn't fully installed. Obviously the carpet's torn out, the trim panels are out, and all of that. It's still a work in progress. I'm going to be doing videos on it, installing the harness bar. Since we have everything out, I don't have to worry about drilling into the fuel tank. And I actually think this is an extremely clean look. I do have to kind of insulate and direct the airflow inside of this rear seat delete because this was not technically designed to be a subwoofer box, so it's not going to be tuned like the box that they came in, but I'm going to do my best to make it sound as good as possible, and I think it's going to be just fine. But really, I'm digging the sleek look and the space savings that this has created. Plus I don't just have a big box sitting in the middle of my car now, so I'm really liking this. So stay tuned for, well, I'm not sure if I'll do an install of this because I've already done a video installing a fuel tank and how to remove it and do the sending unit and all of that. I'm just doing it all over again. Unfortunately, that's a common thing with third gens, and I'm not going to be cutting the hole just because from everything that I've seen, you have to cut the sending unit lines anyways in order to get the sending unit out, or you have to lower the tank and kind of wiggle this all out anyways, and then you got to put rubber hose in line or run AN lines, and I'm just not about that. So I'm just going to do it this way, and hopefully by replacing everything and checking all of my wiring once I'm done to make sure that there's nothing causing this fuel pump to go bad, I'm just going to go about it this way. New straps, tank, sending unit, fuel pump. We got the Hawks harness bar, which I will do a dedicated video on that here soon, so stay tuned for that. And then we've done that, and then we'll be replacing, after all of that's done, we'll be replacing the seats, the seat brackets, and the harnesses. And then once that is done, because that's going to be a chunk of change as well, this is a dash cap, which I keep my car inside all the time, so it's done really well for a dash cap. But a buddy on Instagram tagged me in a post, and I started looking at his ride. He's gotten a lot of ideas from my videos, which I really appreciate it, and I'm really glad he found a lot of the videos helpful, so that's awesome. But I was looking at some of his photos, and he had his dash wrapped, and it turned out really nicely. So he's actually going to help me out, and I'm going to send him my dash, and he's going to get it done for me to match my seats. Not these ones, but the new ones that I'm going to be putting in. So quite a bit of changes coming to the interior, you know, just fixing some issues, and then once it's all back up, we will be able to finish tuning this up. We just got to mess with the fuel trim on the Excel pump and stuff like that. Just minor things. And then once all of that is done, I'm going to get the windows retinted, make sure everything inside is good, get the alignment done, and then we will be getting the car wrapped. So I don't want to get the car wrapped and then have to take it to a shop because I don't trust them not to ding up the wrap. So that's why I'm saving the wrap for last. So that's the update on the Camaro. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, let me know down in the comments, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please make sure to hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below of your guys' thoughts, and as always, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. See you guys next time.